Welcome to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. Here's your host, Steve Teixeira.
Thanks, Andy. Welcome to another 17 Strong podcast. I'm your host, Steve Teixeira, along with my beautiful wife, Holly. Hi, babe.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Well, we have a special guest with us today.
Of course, we always do. We always have cool people here.
That's right.
Yeah.
And none other than Bryan Madsen. Bryan, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me.
Well, we'd love to have you. And why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah. Bryan Madsen is my name. I was born here. Actually, I was born in Bakersfield, but I grew up on the Central Coast.
Oh.
Of course you did. Coming from
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield.
Yeah,
Of course.
You vacationed here and just moved here.
I became the people I complain
Yeah.
about.
that you complain about. I get it.
So then I grew up here. I went to high school here. I actually played at Arroyo Grande. And then got done, played at Cuesta for Larry Lee, who's at Cal Poly now.
Yeah.
Did some stuff in the film industry for a couple years, and then
That does surprise me just a little.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it something that just was like a hobby?
You know what? After I got done playing, I was always kind of interested in the creative aspect, the writing. I didn't want to do anything in front of a camera, but I enjoyed the writing part, and I
behind the
enjoyed
scenes.
the creative part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for a little bit, and then my mom got sick, passed away, and I needed some direction. So I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years. I was
6
stationed in
years.
beautiful Yuma, Arizona.
Ugh.
So yeah.
I've been there.
Yes.
Yuma. Coming from a farming family.
Yes.
Not where you want to be stationed.
Right.
Beautiful is not the adjective I would have used, but okay.
It's open.
Yeah.
Let's say that. Actually, somebody told me that it's really grown. It's really beautiful. I go,
Oh, really?
You should come check it out. I'm
No.
like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, did that, and then got out of the Marine Corps. Actually came to Diablo Canyon out here. Worked security out here for a little bit, and then just kind of moved to Los Angeles. Moved back to thinking maybe I wanted to get back into entertainment. Kind of directionless again, but not in a bad way. Just kind of doing some other things, and then I got back into coaching, or I got into coaching. Really got back into baseball. Had some really good opportunities, and met my wife, and here I am.
In
Now-
Bakersfield?
No, she's actually from more places than I am. She was born in Nashville,
Oh.
lived in Dallas, Florida, San Diego, went to Cal Poly.
Oh,
yes.
so she stayed here then.
Yeah,
Wow.
she stayed here.
So
yeah.
she was already graduated when you met her.
she'd graduated. She's much younger than me, so
There's nothing
Hey,
wrong
there's
with that.
nothing-
I
Yeah.
did the same thing.
What do you mean by
It's a
much?
smart play.
I
Well,
know, right?
12 years, 13 years, I guess. Yeah. We just had our 8th anniversary on Tuesday.
Congrats!
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, yeah.
That's so good.
Well, and thank you for your service to our country.
Oh,
That
Yes.
means
It
a
was,
lot.
my
you know.
honor to serve. It was
That's-
probably one of the most proud things I've ever done.
That's amazing.
yeah,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
how old were you when you went into the Marine?
I was old. I was
You were old.
24.
Oh,
So considering
yeah.
you were
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was older, which helped and hurt in some
Sure.
spots. It kind of helped. Marine Corps boot camp's a different animal.
Brutal
so
is what I think of.
understanding the mental part, I've kind of been through some mental things. Then you're in there with kids that are 18 years old that have never been told that they're not God's gift to the earth. And it's
Right.
So I understood that I wasn't God's gift to the earth, but I still had my own struggles to get through and things like that. But it's by far the probably the thing that shaped me the most,
Right.
and probably the best thing I've ever done in my life.
That's
What was your
incredible.
job in the military?
I was aviation ordnance, so everything that had to do with ordnance in the air, helicopters, aircraft at the first, loading ordnance on it.
Yeah.
Everything that goes boom from up there, we dealt with.
Wow.
You dealt with. So you weren't a pilot, but you helped.
No,
load
you
the
don't want me
planes.
flying any sort of.
Yeah.
no. I can make stuff go boom. I can't control it.
You can't control.
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what was one of your fondest memories of being in the Marine Corps?
The camaraderie,
Like the
I have-
brotherhood almost?
Yeah, I have, and I think that's why I like the team aspect of things so much.
Sure.
I always did, I always have. I never enjoyed being the guy out front.
Sure.
I I enjoyed the team part. I didn't want to be in individual sports. I didn't want to swim. I didn't want to do track. I think I always liked the people that blocked in football. I always liked those guys. I always thought they needed
They
more
got the
credit.
thankless job.
Yes,
Thankless
yes.
job.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Ryan always had the job that was, we'd always cheer and have a
Sure.
great time. And then Aaron, he was the lineman. I'm like,
Right.
poor Aaron. If he only gets yelled at when he doesn't
Right.
do his job.
Right.
He never gets
Of course.
thanks for any. It was
exactly.
It's so
I love
true.
those guys. Like I love
Yeah.
those guys now coaching them.
Of course.
The basketball players that set screens and rebound all day.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that I met in the Marine Corps that I still talk to all the time. They were in
Wow.
my wedding. Like, yeah.
That's
so,
really
great. Awesome.
cool.
I love
That's
that part.
awesome.
Did
I
you
really
travel at all and go to different?
went overseas a little bit, and
Okay.
then just around, couple little boat trips here and there, and
Yeah.
cruises.
yeah.
Cruises.
Cruises.
I love
yeah.
it. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so you got back into baseball pretty much after you got out of the Marine Corps.
A couple years afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, a few
And-
years afterwards.
How did
I
that
had-
happen?
Well, actually, I met my wife, or she wasn't my wife at the time. We were dating, and
Yes.
her cousin, Nick James, is a really big baseball coach in Florida. And I think none of this coaching stuff would have happened without him. And we were talking about it, and I think he could see the passion, and he was like, "Why don't you come with me and start doing some stuff?" you know?
Oh,
So her parents live in Fort Lauderdale, and that's where Nick is. And so he would do some stuff with me, and then it just started itching and itching. Then when I came back to this area with Ashley, and we had just had Derek, and Brad Latchman, a couple people would ask me, come coach. And I said, all right. My friend Andrew Goodwin was coaching freshmen at the time.
okay.
And I helped him do some summer stuff, and I just kind of,
Can you remember what year that was?
I want to
I
say
think I
15, somewhere in
I
there.
think I remember that
I
coach.
think Ryan and I just maybe did,
Cross.
crisscross on the way out.
Because he was graduating
Yeah.
2015,
So,
and
Yeah.
that's the year he was diagnosed too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I coached freshmen, and then JV one year, and then went to varsity. So, yeah,
Gotcha.
it was
Yeah.
great. It's something that comes, the leadership part comes naturally. The baseball stuff, I mean, you're right or wrong, whatever.
Right.
But, the leadership part is what I like about it.
yeah.
Wow.
And you were part of this year's very successful.
Yes.
Yeah,
high
we were
school
good.
team.
Yeah, a small part. The players are the biggest part.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. But
And you guys ended up finishing second.
we were runner-up in
Runner-up.
Central Section CIF.
that's
well,
great.
congratulations.
Great.
That's-
Yeah,
That is
it's
great.
Good
And
group of
super
boys.
Successful.
yeah,
So,
that is
good.
awesome. That's really good. And I know a lot of them got scholarships to go to college and
Yeah,
play.
they did well, and we have a kid going to UCSB. We have a few
Yeah.
kids going to Cuesta. We have a kid going to Willamette.
That's great.
Really good kids too. And that was the best part. It's kind of like things that we started setting in motion. We had a really good team last year when COVID shut us down too.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
8-1 at that time. And then things that we had kind of set in motion. I'm lucky enough to where I get with the U.S. national team, I get to learn from all these coaches all around that are super generous and sharing and legends,
Yeah.
And I would come back and, to their credit, Brad and Steve Tolley were like, yeah, let's implement it. Let's do it. And so these things that we started putting in motion a few years ago really started coming to fruition. And
That's cool.
super unselfish team, pulled for each other, and we just didn't have it the last day. We just got beat,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's baseball.
Baseball.
It's baseball.
That's exactly
It's
what
no
Steve and I
different
say.
than the World Series or
Oh,
Right.
100%.
or playoffs. You know.
That's right.
But they, Madera played well. They deserved to win. So
Interesting.
I'm fine with that.
Let me go back a little bit. How did COVID affect you and your life? I mean, I think a little bit of baseball I might
Yeah.
know, but I'd like to hear how it affected you personally.
I'll be honest. We live on property. My kids are lucky enough that it didn't really affect them. My wife's a teacher,
Oh,
so Ashley's like, Derek's in kindergarten, Zoe's still in preschool, so
Yeah.
it's like they don't know if
You're right.
So this
They're
was
like,
his
"What?"
kindergarten year. As far as being like cooped up, they had time to play. I'll tell you where I really had to make changes is in empathy. Like I think the whole time we were in at that time, the empathy part. And this could be one of the bad things I've learned from the Marine Corps is you just keep going. You just keep going.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
whatever. And that's a great thing. However, I needed to understand that those kids, like my thing was in 15 years, they're not going to think about this. They're going to be moved on with their life.
Yep.
They're going to,
Yep.
they're not going to go to prom. My first thought was like, okay, oh well. Like your prom doesn't change your life in 20
Yep.
years. Like,
Right.
and then I had to realize, yeah, but it's different when you're 17.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
You're not thinking about
Right.
that.
and to put myself in those situations and think, well, what would it feel like to be them? And that's, I think, what I learned is that empathy to understand that there's other mindsets. And even a lot of the civil things and the stuff that's going on in the world, I really try and look and go, well, I'm not that person, but if I was,
Right.
I have to
How
give
would I
that
feel?
person
Right.
their freedom, depending on how you vote or whatever. It's like,
Doesn't matter,
It
right?
doesn't matter. It's
No.
like
Right.
you're a human being. and you have
Everybody
rights.
has a voice.
Everybody has a voice, and
Yes.
it should be heard, and you may agree or disagree with
Right,
it. I think the
exactly.
hard part is going, can I allow you to change my mind possibly? Like
Right.
being open-minded enough to go,
Sure.
hey, if you make a great point, then I've really tried to do that, is not come into conversations or situations knowing this is how I'm going to come out of it, this is what I'm going to do. This
Right.
You have to
You're
have the
open-minded.
flexibility.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Or
I
let's
think-
agree to disagree.
Right.
yeah, and still
absolutely.
be friends at the end of the day. Like
Exactly.
I don't have. I'm not gonna have any. You want to wear a mask? Go ahead. We'll still be
Yeah.
friends. Like I don't care. You know,
Right.
it's like you do you.
You
That's
do
fine.
you.
That's
That's
right.
exactly
You know,
right.
that's
That's
right.
exactly right.
And-
And how did you feel that the baseball kids handled themselves?
It was hard. It was hard.
I'm sure there had to be
yeah.
like a roller coaster
Ter-
ride
yeah.
of,
And-
we're back in school. We're not back in school. We're,
Right.
we're playing. No, we're not, you
Right.
know?
And I think when we got shut down, I remember sat there and I think we thought it'll be a week or so and we'll be back out here. And then that week went to a year.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And that's
Yeah.
hard.
and that's where it gets hard is,
Yes.
is you can see, and I think you probably said, like the kids have trouble emotionally. And
Yeah.
I said this the other day. I met all the new players and everything at St. Joe's, and I said, at the end of the day, there's few things that are dumber than like a teenage boy. Like, and I mean that with all the, and I was one, I get it,
Yeah.
but they don't get it. Like they think they're unstoppable, and
We all did it that
we,
age.
we all did,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's to have this set them back in that way was difficult. And
Yeah.
then when they came back this year, there's this huge amount of gratitude. Gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude. Just, and that's what we said, like, whatever, we're playing games.
Yeah.
We're getting to play.
And they're
Exactly.
winning.
And
like
we're winning.
They're
and it's like,
winning.
yeah.
So it's so that's just so neat. That is
Yeah,
really
it was cool. It
That
was
is
a
really
great-
cool.
It was a good kind of end to that with
Mm-hmm.
those guys. And it was almost for the kids last year. You almost wanted to grab them and say, hey, just come be a part
Just
of this.
yeah,
you know?
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you brought up St. Joe's.
Yeah.
So you just finished your time at Arroyo Grande and
Yes.
took a new position at St. Joseph's.
Yeah, I am now the head coach at St. Joseph's High School in Santa Maria.
Well,
That's
congratulations.
amazing.
Thank you very much.
That's
So
awesome.
how'd that come to play?
We had talked. I had talked to a couple people about it a couple years ago, and actually one of my really good friends, R.J. Farrell, that I also Coastal Empire and the national team, interviewed for it, and they were really, really interested in him. And things didn't work out. He went another place, and then when that opened up, we kind of had conversations, and I gave him my ideas, and I think they heard from some other people, and then they chose me, and now we're running with it.
Now
That's
you're running with it.
amazing.
Now we're trying. I'm
That's
trying to
great.
figure out, like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Have
So-
you been a head coach before?
This is my first head job in high school. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's
I've had
amazing.
some offers, but they would have all had me moving out of this area.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha.
But you have experience. I mean, you have Central Coast Baseball Academy,
Yeah,
and you've been
yeah.
part of USA Baseball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Yeah, and I feel, there's going to be some bumps and there's going to be some learning, and I'm
Sure.
I'm
Oh.
fine with that. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm taking Sean and Steve Mosley. They're coming with me, so I have guys I trust, and it's like
Gotcha.
it's going to be good, and I think they're ready for a fresh start down there,
Gotcha.
and you know that area. It's such a baseball rich.
Oh,
area.
yeah,
And
yeah.
The whole Central Coast is
Yeah.
really,
Sure,
For sure.
absolutely.
You know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you also mentioned the USA Baseball.
Mhm.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about that because I
Yeah.
think that's really a neat level of play.
It's awesome.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And how in the world did you get connected with the
Um,
USA Baseball? And I mean, a lot that you've learned, I'm sure,
tons.
in the process.
It's been the best baseball education I've ever had.
Yeah.
So when I started coaching at the high school again, I mean, every coach wants to coach for the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
national team. And Nick James in Florida was, I mean, he's one of the best pitching guys in the nation. And he was on what they would call a task force, where they'd bring in the best players, and that task force would kind of pick them, and they'd pick the teams. And I always told him, like, man, you guys need someone to catch bullpens, set up tees, whatever. I'll do whatever you need. Especially coming from the Marine Corps, the national pride
Sure.
and things like that. And, you know, he was always kind of like, hey, if I ever get a shot, they don't usually ask me very much, my opinion. But,
Yeah.
and I had written an email. Nick gave me the name of the head of the 12U USA program. And I had written him an email like, I'm 3 hours away from where you guys come out here and do it if you need anything. So nothing comes of it. Cut to, it was probably at this time of year, because we always go back east to see Ashley's family. Their family in Fort Lauderdale, family in New York. Oh, sorry. He calls me on a Thursday and says, hey, you want to come down here and be part of the task force? It sends me this, I'm sorry, it was a message, and I was like, yes. However, I'm supposed to leave for New York on Saturday. So it's like, of course. So he, wrote back and forth. And I said, but I'll come down Friday and I'll be there Saturday morning. And you don't need to pay me. You don't need to do it. I'll pay for my own hotel, whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to be a
want
part.
this opportunity. Yeah.
So they took care. They got me the hotel and this, that, and the other. And so I was there on a Friday night with just people I didn't know. I didn't know any of these guys except Nick. Saturday, it was in Santa Clarita. I think it was like 109 out there. And it's like, and I just remembered doing exactly as I was told, as hard as like running. Like I looked like a little kid, like running, picking up trash, like everything. So I think, well, I got to leave. I'm blowing this opportunity, but I don't want to get a divorce. So I better.
Yeah,
go to
you
New
better.
York.
Yeah, you better do that.
And then the next year, it was a new 12U, a new director for 12U named Will Schwar. And he's one of my good friends to this day. He emailed me like, hey, I got the last guy left your name, and we'd love to have you back.
Wow.
And it just kind of started from there. So I guess
Wow.
all that just paid off.
That's amazing.
And then
So you
now
were
it's been
assistant coach?
5 or 6 years. So, yeah, so what we do as a task force or assistants is essentially we're just trying to put together national teams. Like I just got back from North Carolina Monday, where we were trying to find the best 12-year-olds in the nation. And then you put so many, then this many. And
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll go back in August. Yeah.
That's quite the facility in North
It's
Carolina.
unbelievable.
It's
beautiful.
Yeah.
amazing.
I love that whole area. It's
Oh,
like-
really?
Oh, yeah. That Raleigh-Durham area, it's beautiful. Like it's.
And you like the humidity that goes
No,
with it?
I don't. No, I went from North Carolina to New York, and I was like, oh my God, like.
Yeah.
And then I get here, and it's like it's a
weather's-
little chilly out here.
That's true. That is
So,
true. That's
yeah.
hard to
Yeah, it's
to
great.
navigate.
It's
Oh
a
my goodness.
Huge honor.
I love the USA Baseball. I remember Ryan would play.
Mhm.
And what team was he on that had that
Oh,
opportunity?
he was on
remember.
several teams, that were, I guess you'd call them scout teams
Sure.
Yeah,
for,
scout
Yeah.
teams. That's
for
what they were.
USA,
Thank
trying
you.
to find those certain age groups.
Yeah.
And
So essentially, that's what we'll do. We'll watch
Yep.
those kids, and then once we get them together, we'll coach them and make a team.
yeah.
So,
That is so hard, though.
It's very
I
hard.
can only
especially
imagine.
with 12-year-olds.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because they'll have a really good day. Well, that's baseball.
Yeah.
Good day, bad
Yep.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy.
Somebody said that you don't need to find the best team. You need to find the right kids, the right team.
That's
the right
exactly
That
right.
is
They all
so
work
true.
together. So,
Because, yeah.
And that's
heart-
what the scouts had told Ryan.
Yeah.
That, don't worry about,
Yep.
we'll find you in college. You go get better first.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is,
sure.
him being drafted out of high school. And,
Yeah.
when the cancer diagnosis came down, they said, don't worry about it. we like you, we'll find you.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
You know,
For
It's
sure.
special. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what connection that you have with 17 Strong.
Oh, I would say it started at the high school.
High school.
And just kind of, you see the love and the outpouring of support for Ryan and the entire thing. And then as this was kind of built, I would say for like in his honor or memory,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like you start learning what it's about. You know, these
Mm-hmm.
characteristics and qualities that he had that we all kind of stand for. And you kind of want your players to be like that. Like just be that.
Exactly.
Just be that. Don't be anything. I don't care what you do on
Yeah.
the field. Just be that, and everything else. Everything else is a byproduct. Like,
Right.
winning's a byproduct of doing everything right. Like don't worry about winning. Just worry about doing this right. Don't worry about how people see you. Just worry about you being the best person you can. And I think through that and 17 Strong, it's like you want to be a part of those things, you know. And so, in fact, I was just talking to St. Joe's the other day. Like, hey, I want to start doing some charity stuff with the kids and 17 Strong, and of course they're all for it, you know. But
Love
it's like,
that.
and then when Danelle got involved,
That's right. I was going to bring her up.
yes, like
Can't have a podcast without saying Danelle's
no,
name.
well, God, why would you?
Right?
She's gotta
Exactly.
Be there,
So Danelle was our secretary, and obviously I worked with her at the dental office, and so I feel like I've known her my whole entire life.
Oh, but I had you beat though, because from Pappy's, when her days as a waitress
Yeah.
in Santa Maria, when
That's
our
right.
family would go to Pappy's. So.
And she was the waitress, exactly. So yeah, it was. I felt like I was almost late to getting to know her, but she made up for it because she made me feel like I'd known her for my whole life.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
like
see,
I
you
did
did
know her
know her
whole
for your whole
our
life.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was my mom's goddaughter.
Yes.
Yes, and like the whole Glardy, I was good friends with Justin. Like
Oh yeah.
I always thought we were related, like we were so close.
Right.
But like we're not, but
You're
we're
not,
related by
but
marriage or something,
Yeah.
you know. So
yeah. But
yeah,
your families always got together.
100%.
Yeah.
Like
So
was-
and she always just made everybody feel like family.
Oh,
always.
she was the best.
She
Yeah,
is-
and she was so real. Like
She's
that
so
was
real.
she was like my mom. Like that was my mom and Danelle are very parallel. Like
Really?
I used to tell Ashley, like, you never met my mom, but
This girl.
there you go. She's
Yeah.
pretty close. Like she'll tell you how it is.
She
you
tells
know?
you
Yep.
exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Her and Steve, and also I will even say, in her and Ryan, had this connection like no other. I'm not even kidding you,
Right.
because Steve's really quick-witted, and so is Ryan. So they would go back and forth, and I would be like, "Who's gonna mic drop
Right.
at this point?" You
Yeah.
know, because
Somebody's gotta walk
somebody
I have
has to
not
walk away.
deleted any text from her, and
Yeah.
I won't.
No.
Because there's just so many,
Right. Yeah.
moments on there that are just, they're precious to
Yeah,
me.
Oh,
they
know?
are.
She
They are. I
was
mean,
the
just like
best.
some of the things, like we have a camera at the front gate, and she would be going to treatment, and she would tell Steve, "Look at me," and she's giving him the bird.
Yeah, on the way through.
On the
Yeah,
way
that's
through.
Danelle.
Total
That makes
Danelle.
sense. Yeah,
Total
perfect.
Danelle. Like you,
Yes,
you know.
100%.
You're going, I'm not even surprised. That's
Yeah.
exactly what she'd be doing.
Yeah, she was great. Like she helped with my wedding. She was like she was always there. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
She always would talk about your son and
Oh,
how
yeah.
he was always dressed in baseball gear.
I
always.
just left my house. He's in baseball gear.
He's
right
in
now.
baseball
Yeah.
gear.
I've never seen him without it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
You don't recognize him.
No.
He doesn't like. He'll even wear shorts and high socks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'll be like, why don't you just wear lower socks? It's not how Aaron Judge wears his socks.
That's
I'm
not
like,
where he wears-
he doesn't wear when he wears shorts like that.
Exactly.
Derek, you know?
Exactly. One of my favorite things was when Ryan would come home from baseball
Mm-hmm.
practice, and then he would have all baseball gear on. He would take his cleats off, put his boots on, and he'd walk his pig.
Yeah.
And I would
With
love
cowboy
that.
boots
That
on.
was the
Yeah.
funniest thing.
Yeah.
He'd walk his pig. I'm like, you gotta walk your pig. He'd walk his pig, all baseball gear, just boots on, and
It's
I-
pretty comfortable.
it is
For a uniform,
It is
you know?
pretty comfy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question I'd like to ask is, and I know this answer, but how did cancer affect you personally?
I think it changed my life. Like I think well, that's probably everybody here could say
Well,
that. But
yeah,
I grew up pretty like the world was pretty good for me.
Right.
You know, we weren't rich, we weren't poor, but we worked hard for what we had. Like I was a good athlete. I was funny. Like I was I got I got decent grades, but I really didn't try. Like the world was my oyster. I was, popular, all this stuff. And then like when my mom died of cancer, or my mom got cancer, I remember I was working at McClintock's at Shell Beach.
Oh.
I was a busboy.
Oh.
Okay, well I was
How old
playing.
were you when she got diagnosed?
19? No, 19 or 20. Yeah.
Wow.
19 or 20. And then I remember my dad came in and told me, and it was just like, and then, but still I was kind of like, you don't you don't really get it. It's like, at that time she had a brain tumor.
Oh.
And then, so a couple weeks they did surgery on the brain tumor. They got it. And then I remember like she kind of had to learn, she told me she felt like a baby walking on grass, trying to feel, learn how to redo things.
Oh, yeah.
And then you kind of think, oh, we got past that. And then they found the primary in her lung.
Oh.
And so like, oh, there's another one. And then, so I think my life started to go, oh, it's not all peaches and cream. You're right. I think we all have those moments.
Absolutely.
Sometimes multiple times.
Yeah.
I know I've had multiple ones. And then when she passed, God, I was 22, I think. And I was living down south.
Oh.
And then I came home. She passed, and then, you're worried about my dad and Danelle. It's like a lot. She had other goddaughters, my cousin Melissa and thing, and it's just like this ripple effect that everything just gets touched in your life, and it's not. This is the first thing you can't laugh off, or you can't.
Oh no!
It's not a bad grade. You can go talk. You know what I mean? It's like this is permanent. This is and I'm preaching to the choir, obviously, but it's like that's what changed my life. That. And it didn't change. I wasn't great. It's not like it motivated me to be a great person. Like I had my own. I probably didn't handle it very well. I think I tried to worry about everybody else and try and be fine. Like
tried to bury
smile
it.
on your face and worry about my dad. And then
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I don't. I was an
you're
only child.
Only child.
I have stepbrothers, stepsisters now. My dad remarried, and it was kind of weird. of hers. It was probably the best thing for him at that time.
Did you think it was the best thing, or you were not? That's kind of odd, if you.
I think it was the best thing. I think the way he was going, he needed that.
Needed it.
So, and it was me like, who am I going to tell that's been through that, what they're supposed to do?
Sure, what they're supposed to do.
So,
that's true.
I think it would have been really easy to make a big deal about it, but it was like, it's your life. And he was in a better spot afterwards than he was before. And then when I was in the Marine Corps, it was good. It's what I needed. Like I needed structure. I needed to get back to something that had nothing to do with me. Like you're just this small part, this bigger cog in the engine. And then you get a little chin check and you realize you also get a little bit of, I think that the biggest misnomer about Marine Corps boot camp is they just tear you down. And there is a lot of that, but there's also a lot of building up.
Right.
There's leadership, and there's stuff I learned in the Marine Corps I use every day. Wow. And so to think where my mom's death took me is kind of, I'm sure I'd be somewhere else without it, but I don't know if I'd be here if that didn't happen.
Right.
So and that's just kind of my way. Like you got to make the best out of this. It's terrible and it's heart wrenching and I just choose not to.
You have to keep living.
Right. No, I get it. And then you come up with, almost like a family member, Danelle gets diagnosed.
Sure.
And it like punches you in the gut again.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like I have to go through this again. Danelle fought for almost 5 years. So it's brutal.
It's
brutal.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I guess like God, if someone could figure out how to cure cancer, it's like
I swear it's
game
out there.
changer, right?
I swear
like
it's
world
out there.
changer.
Yeah, I know.
And
that's a whole nother podcast.
I know, that is a whole
it
nother
is,
podcast.
yes, yeah. And so Ashley's mother right now is fighting cancer, and it's like it affects everything.
Everything.
And
everyone.
She's doing pretty good. She's doing well. And then Danelle, it's like you know, here we go.
Yeah.
And it's not, and you almost feel bad for saying that because it's not me. Like, what do you mean, here we go? Like, she's the one doing it,
right.
you know? So.
But yeah, I mean, and she's like the strongest person you can meet, you know, and you know that going into it.
Right.
But, you know, when you've been hit hard prior, it's really hard. It's it's a hard pill to swallow, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just difficult. So, yeah, I don't like that at all. But do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think it pretty much speaks for itself.
I know
Yes.
it does.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this briefly, but you didn't officially get to meet Ryan, but
Correct.
you passed through and you know met knew about him.
Yeah.
What was people saying about him, or what did you hear the most? Besides, I'm talking about him as a character, not him as a baseball player or 17 strong.
I've probably heard more about his character than him as a baseball player. Like, I knew he was a good baseball player, but sometimes I kind of have to remind myself, like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
a lot of people
strong. The stuff at the high school is so well representative of who he was. His teamwork, the hard work, the dedication, the unselfishness, the character. That is what makes me think, like, I even thought about it, like, God, did I coach? Like, I feel like I did. Like, I know him, you know, and it's like, no, I don't think I did. But you hear, you know, you see the reaction when he passed. You see, it's like, this is what you should be. Like, this is what we should all be when we go, you know, like Danelle or my mom. Like, that's what you want to leave. And I think, I don't know. It's just like Jeremy Sheetinger, who did the first podcast I was ever on, says you're selling tickets to your funeral in life, and it's like that's it. Like, you want a bunch of people to come and say, hey, he was good, he was or she was good, you know, like, so
super interesting.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I remember one thing in particular, just at the baseball field at Arroyo Grande, is, you know, there's those names. I think they're like I don't even remember what the thing it was. It's in the casing. Do you know what I'm talking about? The casing.
Oh,
and it has
the league champions.
Yeah,
league champions, and I think there's like an MVP, and there's
right.
all these things. So he brought me. You know, he played
right.
varsity as a freshman,
right.
only because one of the players got hurt, and so he was up there for 3 or 4 or 5 games. I don't even know, but he brought me over to that thing, and he's like, "My name's going to be on there."
Yeah,
and I was like.
Yeah,
I laughed and I thought, "You're crazy. You're
cool.
crazy. You're the craziest
but he
kid."
had
like
determination.
He had the heart, and he knew when he knew something, he knew it. And I even thought, like, you're never going to be on there.
Yeah,
You're never going to be on
sure.
there. But that was my doubt.
Right.
You know, he knew in his heart. He was not joking. It wasn't a joke at all.
It's pure dedication.
And his name is on there.
It's there.
It was on there. 100%.
It's on there.
In more than one spot.
In more than one spot.
And it should be.
And I'm just blown away by it, to think that he took me there as a freshman to go, yeah, my name's going to be on there, Mom. And I'm like, you're crazy.
It's funny how kids have that. Like, it's almost, you know, my son's 6 and he's baseball obsessed. And he's got that. It's an innate self-confidence. Yeah. And like, I don't think everybody has it.
No.
But I think it's, he told me my dad probably lives 500 yards away from me. Okay. And you could see his house across the field. And he was hitting a ball, and he said, one day I'm going to hit a ball all the way to Pa's house. And I go, that's pretty far, bud. Like,
but
I said, I don't even think Aaron Judge could hit a ball that far. And he looked me dead in the eye, and he goes, yeah, he's not me. And I go,
wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, you believe that? Like,
you do. Yes.
And I was insanely jealous that he's that confident. Like,
I feel the same way. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, don't ever lose that.
I mean, because Aaron Judge hits bombs.
Oh, he hits bombs. And
Absolutely.
It's like, and it's like, he's not me.
I love that.
And it's like,
they don't waver. They don't waver.
They don't waver. Like,
and
if you don't believe it, that's fine. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Like,
was it a baseball or a golf ball?
I don't know. Either one. I take either one.
Either one. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I love that. Sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I don't remember now, but
sorry.
it was, But Ryan used to like to hit golf balls out here.
Sure.
Him and his buddies would come out here and they just ruin bats,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Ding,
But,
dent. Oh,
you
yeah.
know, let's see how far we could hit it, you know,
gosh.
clear across the pasture.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love that.
They can go.
But, you know, one thing we prided ourselves on was teaching the definition of integrity.
Sure.
Because integrity is doing the right thing
Right.
when nobody's looking.
100%.
Everybody can do the right thing when everybody's looking and then, hey, look at me.
Right.
But what are you going to do when no one's looking?
That's the big one.
That is
right?
the big
Like,
you
thing.
know?
And I think I do that in coaching, but at home, it's like ever since my kids were little, like, well, they are little, but even Zoe, like, she just turned 4, and it's like she understands the truth. She understands you don't ever have to lie. Just be straight. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
and to this day, those kids will tell me things. I'm like, oh my, I wouldn't have said that if I were you.
Oh, and
But good
yeah,
for you.
good for
But
you,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, it's the biggest part. I think integrity
Mm-hmm.
and what your word means is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You know.
You stand by that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. But yeah, I mean, if we had a owner's manual of how to raise a child, I think we'd all read that one, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember
because-
even talking with Brad, like, about Ryan, about things like integrity or making mistakes. Like how many mistakes people make on the baseball field. We were talking about base running. And every time we talk about base running, Brad would go, and he'd look at like the 17 and go, he used to drive me nuts running bases.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He used to drive me nuts from the stands running bases.
But he'd go, but I loved having him out there. And I go, yeah, it's like, yeah, good.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's funny how
I
things
do
are.
have to say something about that, and I'm not gonna cry because I think it's super powerful, but I do think that Ryan has changed Latchman's heart,
Yeah.
and I say that with all respect,
Sure.
because Ryan really got to his heart,
Yeah.
and I think that that's powerful for an
Oh.
18-year-old. That is, you know, he's been around baseball his whole life,
Right.
you know, but we're not even talking about baseball. We're
No.
just talking about being integrous and being just a good person overall.
Sure.
And Ryan, I think Ryan and Latchman might have had a love-hate relationship, but they, at the end of the day,
Right.
loved each other
100%.
and could walk away and disagree.
Mhm.
And that
Oh,
was the
yeah.
way it is. You know, not a lot of 18-year-olds could wrap their head around that. And that's what was, he loved baseball so much that there was just so much passion, and he
Yeah.
played with so much passion.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he just loved the game.
Sure.
And you don't get to pick your coach. We've told our kids that
Yeah.
No.
all the time. You know, you get
Absolutely.
drafted. You're not going, well, I only want to go play for Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah. Not
Well,
happening.
what if
Yeah.
Tommy doesn't choose you? Well,
Yeah.
then you're going to turn
You gotta
down
go
not
play for
playing.
someone else. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
And I think that's like the biggest, you know, because Brad could be intense.
Absolutely.
And rightfully so, wrongfully so, whatever, that was his style. But I think like I think you're right. And for him to allow that, you know, an adult to allow an 18-year-old to change your thought process, you know, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and you know, what's funny is I know Brad pretty well. And so many people watch him coach and go, oh man, I don't. And I go, yeah, Brad's a nice guy. Like Brad's awesome. Brad's, you know,
Right.
even my wife, when I first started coaching, was like, oh man. And now, like, Brad's her favorite person. Like,
Right.
you know, Brad's got a good heart. Brad do
Right.
anything for anybody. It's
He'll be a
Yeah.
friend for life
100%.
for us. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
he will.
100%. He's
So,
a guy.
And
yeah,
Ryan, like you said, Ryan loved him.
Yeah.
loved
know?
him.
Yeah.
So
And they would butt heads, but
Yep.
just like you said, at the
All
end
those,
of the
those
day,
players come
hey.
back and hug
And-
him and love him, and it's like,
yeah,
absolutely.
you know, I think there might be a need in like that teenage boy for that type of discipline and
Sure.
structure.
absolutely.
You know, like I think they kind of crave it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and
I do
and he
think that.
and he was
And there's not enough of that anymore.
no,
You know, we're so
oh yeah, everybody
passive.
wins.
100%,
you know
100%.
about this when they need structure.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
structure works.
Structure works.
You know, especially in a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you against the world.
Right.
You've got 9 other guys
100%.
that you have to bring along that finish line with you.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I guess I want to just ask, what kind of coach are you going to be? or what kind of coach are you? Because this is new territory, a new head coaching job. You can clean the slate, or
I think, God, I mean, I think a few years ago I made the choice to become transformational. Like not transactional. Like I don't want to, I really believe winning is a byproduct. Like I've said this, I don't think I would have been a good head coach because I don't care about winning and losing. And now I'm thinking maybe that's why I'm a good coach, is because let's worry about the process, and the wins will come, or the loss. And if we do it wrong, the losses will come. But you can't control all that stuff. So my thing is, let's use baseball to grow young men or women. Let's use young people. Let's use a sport that kicks you in the gut repeatedly with failure to learn how to get through failure.
Yeah.
Right.
In life. And this year we meditated before every practice and every game.
wow.
5 minutes. We do breathing exercises and like visualization. And I got it from a few college guys that big programs did it. And I thought, at the worst, this will be a certain segment of the population, teenage boys, that never stop. They're always on their screen. They're always in school. And this is, at the worst, this is 5 minutes where they're just still and nothing's bothering and nothing.
Yeah.
And then we'll start practice once we play. And you can kind of see it, like they're into it. They're into it. Like a couple times I said, hey, we don't have time for meditation. And then they're like, no, we need to meditate. Let's cut 5 minutes somewhere else. Let's go do that. And I think that's that quality in life when things start coming too fast, where you can just go,
I just need to relax for a minute.
like, let's just slow down. Kids, little kids, whatever,
yeah.
They're building up in your head, and you're like, calm down.
Yeah.
And a lot of them into it. It's something that I'll definitely take with me, but I think it's just using this game to teach life lessons.
I think that said
I'm
so
not
well.
a big yeller and screamer. I mean, I can, I guess,
Sure.
but I don't. It's hard for me to tell the players, hey, don't worry about the umpires. You're going to get bad calls, and then me start screaming at umpires. Like, that's not the example I should set. I need to be the captain of the ship, needs to be the coolest one there.
Right.
So they need to, if they make an error, they need to be able to look in the dugout and see me like, whatever. You're going to make errors. They don't need to worry about
Right.
what people think. Like,
Right.
So I think that's how I am. We'll see. I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
probably get kicked out of my first game now.
All right.
One of the best baseball programs that Ryan really wanted to be a part of was Oregon State University, the Beavers. And he went up there for a couple different clinics. And that program resonated with me because they were very clear with the boys that this is not about baseball.
Right.
Baseball's secondary.
Right.
We're here to teach you how to be men, how to be productive members of society,
100%.
and how to live, because very few of you will go beyond college baseball.
100%.
And
Is that with Pat Casey?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Pat
yeah, it was
Casey
Pat
and,
Casey.
and
One of
Coach
the best
Bailey.
human beings that you're ever going to
Yeah.
meet. He's
Yeah.
a fantastic
And you
guy.
know what? He's a straight shooter.
100%.
Yep.
And I love that about him.
Yeah.
I love that about him. He was so straight with Ryan, and Ryan thanked him up and down and said, thank you so much for not leading me on and not, he goes, I respect you.
He told him,
100%.
I don't have a spot for you.
I don't have a spot for you. Yeah.
Well, there's very few spots.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So you're going to lead kids along, and it's, or just be straight with them so they can go find a spot. somewhere.
And
Exactly.
Ryan wanted to know, can I do something better? He said,
Sure.
I just want to know, how can I be a better player? How can I, and I felt like he talked to him for over half an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He's a
to-
good guy.
Good guy.
He's really one of the good ones. And there's a ton of those guys out
There
there.
is.
It's
Yeah.
just,
And do you think, I wanted to ask this too, do you think that the way that, do you coach at an individual level? Because every kid cannot be put into a box. Everyone's different.
I think you'd
Well,
have to.
right.
I don't think you can just say, maybe you used to be able to. I think the days of the coach that goes, hey, it's my way or the highway.
Right.
If you can still do that, great. It's not my way per se, because on a physical level, you and I have different gifts.
Yeah.
You may have a different way of swinging if you're 6'5", 280 pounds, you're not going to hit like a 5'2" left-handed
Right.
kid that runs. It's like to just say, well, this is how we do it is kind of a easy way out. It's like, take the time to build the relationships with the kids and take the time to, which is hard, which I think is going to be the hardest part for me is I was really able to build relationships.
Yeah.
Like I'm still close with a lot of kids that played for us on a non-baseball level. Like, hey, what's going on? You need anything? Life gets going too fast for you? Give me a call.
Totally.
Still being able to build those relationships is going to be a challenge, but I think you just need to have contact every day. Like, how's it going? Let's talk about something besides baseball when you're stretching or warming up. Like,
Right.
So they're individuals, and the parent side is, I love the idea of saying, you're the parent, this is my program, you have no say. That sounds great. It just doesn't work. Not anymore. It may have worked 20 years ago, it may have worked 10 years ago, but now I'm asking you for not only your children, your time, your money, your
you're the
respect.
manager. Your number one is
for
fundraising.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
I'm asking you for time and to trust me with your kid. You need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I see that as a parent now. Like, I'm not just going to let my kid do anything. So you have to let the parents feel like they're a part of it. Like it or not, right or wrong, that's the way it is now. And because they're going to go home and talk to the parent, and you need the parent on your side at home too.
Exactly.
They go home and say, and the parent says, oh, your coach is dumb. Well, why would the kid come work hard the next day? It doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't do that. So, and a lot of it is miscommunication too. Like my plan is playing time. That's playing time, right? And not everybody's going to love you, right?
Yeah, no.
But if you have a playing time issue, I'm not going to just talk to the parent. Like, me, the player, and the parent will sit down and talk about what can get you more playing time.
Right.
So we're all on the same page, and we'll be honest about it. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. But when I tell the kid, hey, you're not playing because you're not getting bunts down in key situations and you're not catching ground balls, and they go home and tell the parent, coach said I suck. Well, it's not what I said, but
No.
so I don't. Let's just all communicate. Let's just communicate.
But if they
Right.
take that and turn around, you find them at the batting cage the next morning, practicing hitting off the tee or
We got a whole
soft
new world
toss.
then, right?
Totally. Yeah.
100%.
That's good. That's awesome. Do you have any superstitions?
Do I have superstitions?
I love Ryan's. I got to tell you, Ryan's after you're done telling me yours.
I say I don't.
Okay.
I say I have routines. Does that make it better?
Does that make it better?
I tell myself, like, don't be superstitious, don't be superstitious. But if I can tell you this, if I'm coaching a base and a kid comes up and does something good, the next time he comes up, I'm going to think, God, how was I standing? How was I, was I on my knees?
Was I that?
Or,
That's funny.
I think maybe there's superstitions or routines, like whatever works. And I think part of that is just helping you be ready. Any crazy superstitions?
You don't wear the same socks every day? Don't ever wash them?
That I did this year. I washed them, but I have probably 15 pairs of navy blue socks from the high school or from USA.
Okay.
And I wore the same pair when we were undefeated.
That's hilarious.
I would tell myself and I'd wash them, but I'd go, it's not the socks, man.
It's not the socks.
It's not the socks. I grab another pair and go, let's just don't mess with it. Yeah. So I guess I have those superstitions. Or my wife and I say the same thing to each other before bed at night. Like we always do. I don't think we've missed a day.
Wow. Okay.
In fact, we always say I'm right here if you need me. That's it. It's all we've ever said. And love you and all that stuff. But there's not a night goes by that we don't say that. It's just a routine. And now we're saying it to our kids.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
so cool. Yeah, we used to say things very,
Yeah.
Well, our big motto was attitude is everything. And
Sure.
that was a big thing. And that helped in a lot of situations because if you didn't like that call that the umpire had, attitude is everything. How are you
100%.
going to do it? How are you
Yeah.
going to react?
You see it.
How are you going to
yeah.
react when, you know,
It's everything.
It's
That's
everything.
the biggest thing in the world.
It's everything.
Is how do you handle
how do you
adversity?
handle it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Everybody can be good when you're winning.
oh,
That's
100%.
easy to
It's
do.
when you're losing or
Yeah.
you're having a bad day or you do it's you know, and I have to remind myself about it all the time.
Sure.
And it's such a great motto to have in the house and it was I can't remember when we lived here, probably when the kids started school. I want to say that's what we started.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference.
Well,
you know?
and we tell the kids all the time, even USA stuff, like there's, we just saw 500 or so 12-year-olds of the best 12-year-olds in the nation. And it's like,
and you're
we're
splitting
watching
hairs.
you. I'm watching you. I'm watching you get out of the car.
Yeah.
I'm watching how you treat mom and dad. I'm watching when we've taken kids off the list because of how they react after they make it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
And the answer, they're just not a USA guy.
Yep.
They're great baseball players. They're
Yeah.
just not a USA kid.
Mhm.
That's
They're not the right
interesting.
one. And it's, God, you can't say it enough. Like,
Yeah.
we're always watching you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I do like I have to give kudos to the CMU coaches.
Yeah.
They just rounded kids, well-rounded
Mm-hmm.
kids, and that was one cool thing that. Tell me again the Oregon State coach's name.
Pat
Coach
Casey.
Bailey. And
Yeah, he
and
said
Casey,
I
yeah.
would take a 2-sport athlete over a 1-sport athlete any day,
All day
just
long.
because they have the discipline. And I'm so thankful for that one thing that he said because Ryan was not going to play football.
Sure.
He had just kind of made up his mind that he didn't want to do it. And because he wanted to dedicate all of his time to baseball.
Yeah.
And it was because that coach said
Sure.
that to him. And that made a world of difference.
I've yet to have a college coach tell me they don't want multi-sport athletes.
Right.
Like, I don't know why these kids are so stuck on one thing. Like,
Right.
it makes you better at everything.
Absolutely.
Go play basketball. Go play football.
Everybody
go play
wants that
lacrosse.
$1 million paycheck.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks their kid's going to be the next Aaron Judge.
Sure.
And reality is how many of these kids, you might get drafted,
Right.
but you end up riding a bus in the
Yeah.
minors
That's true.
for 5 years and never get that call.
You better have some discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better really love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And all those guys played multiple sports. Aaron
Yeah.
Judge
Yeah.
played 3 sports. Like,
Right.
it's a real shame that kids are not playing multiple sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that just builds so much character and so and Ryan was good at both sports.
Sure.
But sometimes
Oh, yeah.
it's just the discipline of doing it, and going through those motions of doing
Absolutely.
it.
And we enjoyed Friday night football. I mean,
Right, we did.
Who
We had a really
doesn't?
good team too.
I know.
It was
It looks so fun. I never played football, but it looks so fun.
so
on Friday
fun.
night.
Yeah, right? Exactly. All those thankless jobs that the
Yes.
linemen have to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yep.
I know. I love it. Okay. So one other thing is, you've had to overcome a lot of struggles in life. And how do you normally do that? How do you wrap your head around these struggles and move forward?
Someone's got it worse. Like, that's,
So true.
it's like, it's not that bad. Whatever I'm going through is not that bad. Like,
Right.
it's, I get a lot of, I get up at 4:30 and I work out. I get up at 4:25 and then I work out in the morning. Not 4:30 because 4:25 is a little earlier.
It's a little earlier.
So, and it's like, it's not that bad. Like, if I can, part of the reason is it's when I have my time, like the kids are asleep and Ashley's asleep and I'm not taking away from them by doing something. The other part is, like, I always think somebody can't do this. Like,
Yeah, he's right here.
yeah, well, no, it's like somebody's not physically able to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody's not,
yeah.
like, God, what am I complaining about? And
Yeah.
it's not that I don't have bad days. I do, but it's like I'm pretty lucky. I'm pretty blessed. Like,
Yeah.
I have a good life.
Yeah.
And if I don't know. I don't even know. This is a bad part. I don't know the last time I had a bad day. I don't
Right.
know. I know that sounds like poppies and
No.
daisies, but it's like I can't think of it right now. So
Right.
it wasn't that bad.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mom thing and Danelle, that was a bad day. But
Yeah.
it's like, it wasn't, even that, it was worse for, Leah and Jessica, it was for me. So I need to think about them.
Right.
I just think it's super easy to go, oh, everything's hard.
I know.
And that's part of it now is a lot of people
A lot
want to
of
have
people-
real
yeah.
hard lives for some reason, like be victims. And I just don't understand
I don't
why.
get that.
Why?
I don't get it either.
Why?
Yeah.
There's people that are actual victims and they don't want to be. So why would you
Right.
make yourself a victim?
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
That's very well said. Very well said. And I think Ryan was so good at having such a positive attitude. And he always would say, in the middle of treatment, in the middle of, being in the hospital, someone's got it worse than I do.
Of course.
Someone's got
Somebody
it
didn't
worse.
make it that
Mm-hmm.
long. Like it's kills me. Like the
Yeah.
childhood cancer, like it just breaks my heart.
Oh,
Like,
and
I don't
we
even
were
wanna
on
think
that
about it.
floor.
Yeah, 100%.
Every
Yeah.
single, for 9 months. And, you go and I remember him saying a couple of times, gosh, I'm so glad that patient won't remember any of this.
Yeah. Right.
Like it was always thinking of the other person or
That's
right.
making it
That's a
positive
good way to go
spin.
through it. Like go
Right.
through life. Is there's somebody got it worse. My
Someone's
dad
got it
used to
worse.
always say that. Whether or not you want it to, the sun's coming up tomorrow.
Right.
So
Right.
you might want to make the best of it.
Yeah. 100%.
And when the holidays come around, I always think about all those people. People don't realize that there's somebody somewhere that's in a hospital
Right.
with a child that's fighting for their life.
Yeah.
And you're
were
getting
one
to
of
have
those.
your fireworks and
Sure.
everything else.
Yeah.
And they're on pins and needles
I used to
praying.
think about it with veteran, I knew guys that were overseas. Like, okay, we missed a holiday or whatever. Like, well, their kids are at home. Like, I didn't have kids and a wife. Like,
Yeah.
they walked out the door and it could have been their last time.
Sure.
Like, so
Mhm.
every time you walk out the door, you better be appreciative of what you
Yeah.
have. Like,
Right.
and it's someone's always got it worse. So,
Yeah.
and I think it's just part of my nature to just keep, like I said, that's the good part of just
Yeah.
keep going. Like,
Keep going
is-
and keep positive and
Yeah.
keep
I could, like, I've thought about that. Like, my mom never met my kids.
Yeah.
Never met my wife. Like, I could be really, really sad about that if I wanted to. I just don't choose to. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not you don't have hard moments, but they're
Yeah.
moments.
They're
They're moments where you
moments.
go, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
it sucks, but there's a ton of good too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think
And
you have
that's
to
where
focus on that.
we focus on 17 strong because
Sure.
it's what we have. And
Right.
Ryan is the one that thought of it and is the founder of it.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, I choose joy. I
Sure.
don't have joy every day,
Right.
but I choose it because Ryan gave us a purpose. He
Right.
gave us a purpose through 17 Strong, and it's a lifetime of a purpose that I
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something, and it's something that,
I'm giving back to somebody else to
sure,
make a difference.
and you wouldn't have it without that. Unfortunately, we would always trade that for the person, but it's like it's something that continues on, and it's something
Absolutely.
that is great for others.
Right.
Like Danelle. Danelle was that way. Like Danelle, I told Ashley, like she would ask me, like, Danelle looks good. I said, I'll be honest, you're not gonna know Danelle's gonna pass until she passes. You're not gonna know
Yeah.
because that's not how she lives her life. Like
That's exactly right.
that's, and God bless her. Like good for her, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Like,
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
so don't expect a
Yep.
10-day pity party because
Yeah.
it ain't happening.
It's not
you
happening.
know?
That's
Like,
right. And that's why it was so important. Our friendship was so important because I did get a couple moments,
Yeah.
and it was they were
Awesome.
powerful.
Yeah,
they
they're
were
tough.
super. Because she was normally always up,
Yeah.
always up. And when I had that couple of those moments with her, it was just super private, super personal because
And they're hard, right?
They're
like
hard
those
at
are
that
hard,
moment.
but because I remember my mom, who was the same way, very energetic,
Yep.
fun, loved to dance. Like the reason,
quick-witted.
super quick-witted. The reason she didn't go get checked right away for her brain tumor was she thought she had like one too many lemon drops,
Oh god.
and so she was kind of dizzy the next day.
She's like, what?
And then the next day it was still there. She goes, I better go check that. It's like, so I remember like at the end, my dad called me and said, you should probably come home. Like, okay. And that's where I first saw like the human spirit of fighting, like was, you could tell the person laying there wasn't the same anymore.
Right.
And just wouldn't let go. Like,
Right.
it's like, that's tough. Like, that's
Yeah.
toughness. And then where you almost think, just stop suffering. Like, and you feel bad about thinking that, like, just let go. Like, but, and so I get that. And so you have those moments.
Yeah.
And I remember those moments, but like, they don't
You don't
consume
dwell.
me.
Right.
You know?
They don't. You don't dwell on
I
those,
remember much more good than any
Right.
bad,
which is awesome.
It's
Which
great.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good because you don't want to you don't want to dwell on the bad, you know? Yeah. There are certain things you don't want to catalog those memories of those bad moments because there's so many more good.
Sure.
But, yeah. And I just think how, you know, I don't know, sometimes my mind goes to the what if this or what if that, you know, and I can't do that. I can't live in that world because
No,
yeah,
it's not real.
You just have to stay positive and upbeat about what we do have.
Sure.
And 17 Strong was huge, and he knew it. He would always tell Steve and I, it's going to be as big as Make-A-Wish, and there should be no reason why it isn't a household name.
Absolutely.
And why not? That's exactly
That's
what
right.
we say. Why not?
Why not?
So I guess I want to end with,
On a positive note.
yes, and I would like to know a favorite memory of maybe mom or Danelle or something that obviously a good happy memory.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's weird. I have a ton of happy memories.
Of good,
Like I remember
good.
holidays. Like,
I know,
that's what I
right?
mean. If I think about my mom, I
All
think
think
about
it
a
good.
smile, right? A couple times maybe I disappointed her that
Yeah.
I still remember. It's
Sure.
like, ugh. But like Air Jordans, I remember when Air Jordans first came out, she saved money and bought me a pair. And I was like, oh my God. And Justin too, Justin Glardy, Daryl's
Oh.
brother, had them too.
Yes.
And we were so like, oh my God. And I remember like, it's probably why I like shoes. I don't know why.
You have a
but
fetish
I have
about shoes.
I have a shoe problem.
Okay.
Yes.
There's worse problems to have.
Yeah. Well, my wife may differ. But it's like, I remember she was so like, these are nice, you know, take care of these. And to
Yeah.
this day, like I like certain
Shoes.
model of Air Jordans. And it's like,
That's
I
probably why.
remember her pride, I think. And like, there's been times where I didn't live up to that pride. And now it's like, that's what you can be. That's what you should be. So I think I have a ton of positive memories about, but all in all, it's like, just be what you can be and don't settle for less.
Yeah.
And that's what drives me. So to say, is there a certain memory? No, it's a ton.
Yeah,
That
it's a ton.
add up to this one thing. You
That's
know?
right,
And as
which
far
is
as
good.
Danelle, it's like, God, I've laughed with Danelle so much. Like,
She would drop the F-bomb and we would just be,
heartbeat.
we'd just die laughing because
She's
that's
too
just
much.
Danelle.
Yeah.
You know, and I have so many amazing memories. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I love her.
Well, Brian, thank you for
Yeah.
joining
Thank
us.
you
That's
so
an honor.
much.
It's been
I
a
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thank you guys.
So
Thank you
with
guys.
that, we'll wrap up another 17 Strong podcast. And thanks to our studio engineer, Nate Hand. And if you'd like to donate to support 17 Strong, you can visit our website at 17strong.org. And remember, attitude is everything.
You've been listening to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. To be part of the show, make a donation, or request more information, go to 17strong.org. That's SEVENTEEN strong.org.